Since the line began in 2013, there have been nearly 100 different figures released in the 6-inch Black Series, but even 100 figures still isn't enough to tell the story of Star Wars. Some of the most important pieces are still unaccounted for. 6 out of the 10 spots on our previous 10 Most Wanted list just happened to find their way into production. Wink. So it's time to revisit the list for this hip new world of almost 2017. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the 10 Most Wanted Star Wars 6-inch Black Series, Volume 2. Number 10 is Bib Fortuna. Bib Fortuna is the most important guy at Jabba's palace. If not for Bib, the entire Jabba's palace scene, much less Jabba's daily routine, doesn't move at all. He's Jabba's main translator when the translator is broken, which is always. He's the only one that not only makes sure that everyone has a place to nap, but stays awake during nap time to answer the door, do the laundry, and make sure that the palace doesn't get too warm and slimy or too cold and slimy. His weak mind may be vulnerable to the Force, but he's the only guy that Jabba can trust to make sure the frog dispenser is stocked and that the singing and dancing animatronic puppets are properly maintained. Number 9, Jawa 2-pack with a power droid. Jawas come in a variety of sizes and with all kinds of belts and tools and stuff. Different robes, dirty, tattered. It would be silly to just put out a single Jawa, and Hasbro already knows this. There's precedent for releasing multiple Jawas in a single package, and there's precedent for packing them with droids. And not for nothing, but now that C-3PO has finally arrived in the line, he's going to need something to start fires with when he's on Tatooine. Jawas are a clean-burning, renewable fuel source and a natural enemy of droids. Number 8, Gamorrean Guards. This character works at multiple levels for the line. 1, see Bib Fortuna. Most of the essential parts of Jabba's palace are already in place. Gamorrean Guards help fill the room. Number 2, it makes for an interesting toy. I don't particularly love pig-faced barbarian Muppets, but they certainly add more variety to the line than another Luke Skywalker. Enough with the Lukes, there's too many Lukes. And third, a line like this needs army builders to keep it healthy to allow for unique molds that are only going to get used once. Most collectors are going to need at least 2 or 3 to properly dress their Jabba's palace display, so there shouldn't be any concern about getting value out of this mold. Number 7, Leia in Hoth gear. Every Star Wars line eventually works its way through each of Leia's looks, but the emphasis is always on her pretty dresses and creative hairstyles. In the 2016 Battlefront video game, Leia is one of the core heroes, and her main outfit, regardless of the geography, is her Hoth outfit. It's practical, multi-purpose, and it prioritizes function over form and still uses a basic white color scheme that is associated with Leia and Padme in the prequels before her, after her. There's always room for another female character in the line, even if it is another Leia. Number 6, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thrawn was originally introduced in the Heir to the Empire trilogy of books written by Timothy Zahn and released in 1991, 2, and 93. But he's one of the thousands of characters whose existence in the Star Wars universe was in limbo after Disney purchased Lucasfilm and announced production on Episode 7. The creators of the new films didn't want to be limited by the exhaustive, previously existing, difficult-to-navigate canon of Star Wars books and comics and games and toys and things that I secretly mailed to Skywalker Ranch. But he was given new life in 2016 when he showed up as the main villain on Star Wars Rebels Season 3, retaining his characteristic white Imperial uniform, blue skin, and blood-red eyes. Between Rebels and Rogue One, Star Wars is all about that time period between Episodes 3 and 4, and it's a real surprise that this figure hasn't already been announced. And with the Director Krennic figure out there, all it would take is a new head and a blue set of hands. Number 5 is Captain Rex. Once Commander Cody was released back in 2015, it seemed only natural that Rex wouldn't be far behind. There were even internet rumors that he was already happening, but it never materialized. Since then, he's become a key character on Rebels, sporting a different look, sure, one that I would probably not want to be his first representation in the Black Series line, but still, he's there, he's important. With the Clone Trooper figures already existing, all you need are a few new accessories to dress up a Phase 1 or Phase 2 Trooper to make a Rex. Number 4 is General Grievous. Moving up 6 spots since our previous list, the key villain throughout the entire Clone Wars era is already in the Disney Store exclusive 7-inch Elite series, which is die-cast, by the way, surely a more complicated design and production process. This character was churned out in 3 3/4 inch scale, so it's not a matter of design or manufacture, so it has to be where and when to slot him in. I would suggest the next unannounced wave, and now. Number 3 is a Bounty Hunters 3-pack, Zuckuss, 4LOM, and that... No, I'm changing my position on Dengar. In the past, I've had a pretty negative view of him. The comics and stuff always try to put him on equal footing with Boba Fett, and I just look at the guy and say, no, No, Dengar, go home. You don't belong here with your weird head wraps and secondhand stormtrooper armor. But I've been playing a lot of Battlefront, and ever since the Bespin DLC, I've had some time to run around the galaxy clubbing rebels over the head with his blaster rifle, and I have to say, it's been fun. And come on, Zuckuss and 4LOM are a spacebug alien and a spacebug alien droid. That's practically the recipe for cool action figures. Number 2 is Grand Moff Tarkin. He's the actual villain of the movie that started this whole thing. Tarkin is the bad guy in Episode 4, not Vader. He's had an appearance in the prequels, he's been on Rebels, he's been produced in every 3 3/4 inch line other than the actual original Kenner line, which to this day I still can't believe. The Star Wars universe right now is immersed in the pre-exploded Death Star era. It would be a crime not to borrow the Director Krennic body again, paint it gray, and slap a new head on it. A couple of quick honorable mentions before we get to number 1, just for me, for my own personal preference. 2 characters I would love to see in the line. Captain Sidon Athano, the red stingray helmeted space pirate that almost recruited Finn in Episode 7 and got plenty of other merchandise produced. And number 2, Lax Sivrak, the space wolfman from Mos Eisley Cantina, whose big moment got cut out because Lucas thought his mask looked too much like a mask, to which I say, isn't it possible there was a guy there wearing a werewolf mask at the cantina? And number 1, Episode 7, Old Luke Skywalker. How is this not already a thing? I get that production and design of stuff has to begin well in advance of the film, and Disney was really trying to avoid spoilers, but we all knew Luke was in the film. How is it over a year after the film's release and there still isn't a single old Luke figure in any line that has been released? No Elite, no 3 3/4 inch, the Hot Toys figure isn't due out until sometime in 2017, if ever, and the Funko Pop figure will not work in my collection. Luke is in Episode 8, so I have to assume that the old Luke figure is being held for release in conjunction with that film, and I further assume that he'll still be wearing the same Jedi robes that he was wearing in Episode 7, since that's how Jedi Masters do. And then the mold will already exist so they can put out the translucent ghost of old Luke figure for Episode 9. Those are the 10 most wanted Star Wars 6-inch Black Series. You know, if you just happen to be sitting in an office with a really big Hasbro logo on the wall behind your chair, you know who you are. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. These are the tools with which you fight to send a message to YouTube that this is the kind of stuff you like to watch and you want to watch more of it. Share this video, share the love, and let us know in the comments below who we left out. I mean, we left out a lot, so just give us like your top 3 that didn't make the list. Don't go crazy. I don't need every clone in the 501st or every Darth from the Old Republic through the Battle of Yavin. It's like 26 Darths.